Nimbula minaka na turangan na marama na hadorbo na manelewa. Non da viti romani. Mataka ni kuwa singa pagarawai and nabi mama ni vitu family table talk. Na vitala no baka matawale. Nimbula minaka na vi korokoro, vi matagali vi toka vi abusa. Na sana tinga bali non no vi turang bali marambali matentu itolu ni sambula binaka todoko. Ase ni ngule dabi na non da matentu romani watala kina. Vi songolo tu Kristo. Watalaki na weekend na tu na vira say buru so nindo tune into my and a program binango a family table talk 7:30 every Saturday morning. Kero torto ko ngon binango me kero weekend na bagitu gani. Binabagalibu na daw siya matumay, binabagalibu na acknowledge sa katumay na ngon binango. Kero sa torto ko ngon binango me kero baka binango mo nindo siya matumay. Kero do baka takatu ngon binango na vital no saranga. Me baka saranga do na matawale si binango ko. Siya ni kani lotu, siya ni kani no mo pakita baka lotu, sino mo itutu, kero lubata kero toka ni lagi. Vital no sarang ambe baka nga do na mata bubale. Kung ano kero bikin baka talo baka dua baka na tukani ano binaka ni bula binaka, malo ang bula siya ang bula re, dolo bina, en mataka ni siya ni kuha. Kero tortong na binango baka do tale, baka binatag baka libo naman daw siya matumay. Family table talk every Saturday morning, and siya binango ni kuha.
Bulubinaka, and thank you for joining us yet again to another Family Table Talk on Saturday. So we welcome you. You must be having breakfast, or maybe you're still lying down in bed and lazily just going through your phone. And here you are. So good morning and welcome. We have been talking about the family, planning within whatever that you have, projection with a couple, individual as well as your children. So today we would like to go a little bit deeper and also round up on the planning, because we have been talking about planning maybe for the last 3 Saturdays.
Three Saturdays.
Yeah, planning your life, planning your individual daily, requirement, your family meals in the week. A lot of things that we assume that it's automatically done in most household. I believe it's a struggle for most. One, and second, it's not even a thought. It's like, as and when it happens, and then it's okay. When you're going about to have the meal, and that's when you start thinking about the meal. So when the bill is going to be due, it's like no projection to know, my bill is due on this particular date during the month. It's like only when it's there, and then you're faced with that fact. So planning, as we're coming down to a summary, to try and close off on the topic of planning. We will not completely take it out, because planning is still, one of the vital parts of the family, not only as a family, but as an individual and as a human being, because you need to plan your life. Yes.
O tiko na koro, se ko ndau titei, se ko ndau ngoli, se ko daka na buloni daka, se ko daka mandanga baka lutu. E ke baka na senga na tuba, e na senga ni lago binaka na kawan ng garaba, ndo na singa, ndo na madawa, ndo na bula. Balik sa atu na tuba ke balik ndo na kako na bula.
Indo tala na kai baka senga ni ndo na bakini bule ba koiki na. Balate ni kongo ni buli ko na tuba na kamo buli, tuba na nomula ko ibuli na nomoyan ro matakalilai na kawebu kikin. Sengin do ba koikina na vele bolo ke ni boli ko dona kai do no menda tuwana me baleta sarang ba katambakin do no no bola matai kene krua na no mutuwana no mo bola ni ko na tiki ko se o katiti ko do no matu vale se korni buli se kalasi se na bono ko ba kai tabikina ba ni daka sogoloto
ni ngono ko tubu kina ko sa ba ka buli di ko tiko na bula ba kai ba karao discipline when there is a planning kembali tiko na guideline tiko na klame pakai tiko ya sanango iko na tiko ngai loma kembali na kautamai na mbula pakai pakarau niko tarmanta ki kubule tika na buli tika una wala koloko kembali iko sana tubu mai muri kembali kia na walu iko na gaire na traffic iko tumena sinu tamta isuwa iko tumena sinu iko tiko isambula kembali na ndindu na tubu na ndindu na numuna tuba na numubakasa na una da bondurikina una da bokatalukina sengon da bosilkina babarukina na bakata una kataletu balta asara ni tubu ninga una ngako sa bakabuli kina na tubu kina numumbula iko sa bakabuli sa tu na tubu na numubesinga na numu madongo na bula mengo kena mengo kembali ko sa bakabuli diko tiko mendua na bula bakai bakarau ni senga na tubu kembali iko na dhiri tunga na libu na ngauna la ilebu tu na kango la ile kongo so na ngauna ilebu tu na kaisi nindo na kenayanga ngai le tu na ka kayanga bakalibu Kembali ni ko sa tika butu sa wabuli dabi ko na tuwa. Iko sa pakabuli di ko sa tunga na be singa ni mataka. Karena kau tamay ng bula pakai pakarau, ng bula daw pakarong daw dakadaka. Kung nadaka pa na kando nun, bonon donu, nangunan donu. Kadaka tiko na kain donu nga mataka.
Yeah, so back to our listeners today. We're talking about planning like what Gasile was running it up in Itoke language. When you do your planning, when you start your planning individually, as an individual, it helps you moving forward for your life daily. And then it builds you up to be part of your bigger plan that you have, because you've already tried to plan. You cannot be... you don't plan anything at all, and then you expect to bring to pass the bigger plans that you have.
Because the little things that you plan, these little things, that makes the bigger thing.
Yes.
You can't go or dream for bigger things until and unless you plan the small things. Siyang wala nga ni ndambula kinago wakay vol tambu sartu nga ni ko saan di na nga nakalalayo na nakawakina nagay suli mo lawan na kayo mga kembali na bay tubo lelew bigger plans tubo lelew rawa balta ni ko sa tuwa na tuwa ni kalalay to patanga ni ko sa maro rawa nandua na sagamoli si $1 si $2 rawa talaga ni ko na maro na nanraw na undolu balta ni ko sa ati ko babuli dati ko nang bulan ni tuwa kembali sindo ba ko ay kina bira maro ntu mai si ko tuwa na koro au tu manda o sa tu no ti una tu tal na bulan manda wana koro kembali matakalilay sa nakaka matakalilay ngayon tati ko na tinikan dua sanga una ni sa lesumay na itite sa lang may bale ngayon kata tu na singa sa may dakatunga so na kalalay bale ni bera ni ngaya kapital banwa sa badi tu tal le rutal na awa si tol tal na awa dia ke bakay lebu tu na ni tite do na singa un garabango do na singa lingarba lebu na ka ko raw ni zakaba ni ko tubana wata kira ngoni buli ke bakara na tubana na bulle soni bala laitingo ni ngone bole ka kina test se bole kana na biterongi uran siningali kla
ne baka na po ni ngona leka ko boy merga sanga
buli todo ko na bile son todo ni ndo mandanga na leso ni bidatu na kana bi tikinai ke bakara tubana tiko mai baka sari bisa no nga sa brush through mbaleta ngona ni sa tuti tu wala lai kapag talaga kina ng bula bagay labo ni ngona nga yung sa tuwan to kina bulto ka palalay so naka bulto ka palalay libo na ngona kada nanu mamo sawa ngona usar na ka ngali bulien do na vali lebu nanu mati ko ni sa lebu lien do na vali lebu ni labo ko maro ito mai tama ko na kay bula kina bisinga kembali kaya ko tuwa walay tarato may nubale siya kasara kaya pinakasara na ilabo siya na isaw rin tarara ando na vale ando talto na vale may rende taki so mandanga na vale lintu nga kaya ni uira ba angel ito ipa fam ni ngonongo pambibi ko na tubango na puno ni takadaka na tamate tambili ito may kembali ando na puno may rente ko kina ngai ninda bital no batakira ko ra bakapali tu na bibo no lili wana sinu ero ni rato ndo na balengo e bidatal tu na rabale may hango na tubo na besi kan mataka lebu na ngona ni sa na tubo di na ko ngai tor ni labu sa na no labu maruroi ona pakanga saranga na mula na besi nga ako sa bibikin na tubo
yes So back to our viewers on the planning that we are trying to round up on that topic, particularly today. We want to encourage you because it's a lot that you can say about planning. Planning, within your scope of work, your scope of life, whatever that you do, whatever that you're part of. It can be, you're so active in the society, in the church, or you may be part of the Matangali and the Vonoa. You have your duty to play there. You have your family. There's a lot of things. Or even for those of you who own your own business, which means, your life needs more planning because you need to, you only have, one individual, which means that person needs to be accountable in every area that you're part of, and that takes planning, because if not, you'll always have to give excuses. Okay, I won't be able to be there because I'm doing this, I'm doing that. No, you can all do all, but you just need to plan it well. And back to you, like what Gasile was sharing with us today, some of you have the strength, in finance. Strength within your hand. You have enough money with you that you say to yourself today, you may be listening in and you say, I'm good, I'm well, I am good. I can look after my family. I've got quite a substantial amount through my pay packet, and I've got my spouse who also earn well. And the strength is very good at this point in time. You have a home, or maybe you're still paying it off, or it's mortgage free, and you have a car. Don't just look at today. Like today, you have your children. How many children do you have moving forward? You're not going to be there all the time, the years of their lives. The moment and the day will come, that, that you will live on and you will go on. And these are the children that you're going to leave behind, or your descendants to come. So if you have the strength, or when you already have the strength with you now, then don't just resort to the fact that I'm good and this is the way to live. I'm always inspired and encouraged on how the Fijians of the Indian descent, on how they, very particularly how they live their life. It's like handing over from one generation to another. And they don't settle with that. They don't just take whatever is given to them and they continue to, enjoy and maintain it the way it is. No, they maintain and they also increase. They take themselves to another level. So they bring more to the plate other than just living on the hard work of their grandfather or of their father. And that's something I would say for the Itoke, we hardly, it's not, everybody doesn't do that. Because it's nothing to pass on to our children for most of us. And we need to start planning now. When does it start? You can start with it now. And if you say that you have enough finances with you now, then start projecting. You can get a farm. Already, maybe you have a farm. How many children do you have? Try and talk to them and talk about it at home and make it like a conversation at home for them to hear you. Because if something happened to you, then what happens to them? The very money, the very resource that you're bringing in now, when automatically that doesn't happen. And then the lifestyle you're living now, it's actually according to your income as you receive now. But imagine if one of you is taken or one of you pass on, with that finances not going to be there anymore, then it will affect the lifestyle that you have. Because, one source is not going to be there. And sometimes, you thought or you think now with this money you're having a good life, and then you don't want to project. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it. Like if something happened and you move on. The thought, if you really love your family, then you will make sure that they're good. Whether you are here or not here, your family are good. Because we believe, we call this program the Family Table Talk, that we have our responsibility, not only to each other as individual, as a couple, but you have your responsibility to your family, to your children, which, God has created you. And not only that, gave you to be custodian of those children. Sitting on the other side, like we always say, he always introduced the show to say, okay, we are here just like grandparents, individual, normal parents just like you, minus the church. We are part of the church, a church, and we also, we believe in God. So we put that on the side, and we're sitting here just like you. And with that said, sometimes we fail to see through our tomorrows, and we don't want to talk about our tomorrows, and I believe we should have that as a conversation at home. We talk about it.
It's our responsibility as parents, as human beings, as especially for those that we believe in God, that we must have a plan.
Yes, and then you instill that confidence in your children or confidence in your family that they are good, whether you're here or not here, that they're going to be good. I was sharing because we had this couple session on Thursday that we usually have on virtual. I actually had a lady that came into the office with her daughter. We had our meeting in the boardroom. And as we were sharing, going on, and then she said, I will need prayers. Then she shared what she was going through, which I would like to, share with us today. She said, like both of us were on our second marriages, from different marriages, and we had different children from our first marriages. And when we came together, we didn't have any children at all. And then now my husband has passed on. I have mine from my first husband, and he had his from his first wife. And both of our children, they're now living with me, and they stay together in the same dwelling. And that dwelling was actually written to the husband, the second husband. And she said, when I came in, we were paying off the house. We came and we were still paying, and we paid the house together until he passed on. And he passed on this year, in February this year. And then she was sharing, like the house is written under his name. And now I'm going through, those moments that the sibling from the first wife are now saying, you know, that house belonged to them. And then yet, she said, I've got mine from my first husband that is here. I'm sharing this because that's the reality of life that is out there. Not everybody is normal like you, like in the fact that, okay, this is my wife and this is my children. I'm in a nuclear family. Or you have your parents with you and said, okay, I am an extended family, but I am good. Not all the families are like that. We have different scenarios in families. Some are on their third or fourth marriages. Some, you know, like the husband just walked out or the wife just walked out and started another family. So there are a lot of other people involved. And, you know, too many, and then you're living in an extended family, like maybe your husband have left you or your wife has left you, and then you have no other alternative but to love your children and go back to your parents. So, you know, there are different setup in the family right now as we speak. Back to the story that I was sharing. And then she said, please, I need prayers, you know, for what I'm going through. And I was trying to counsel her on what to do and also pray with her. And at the back of my mind, you know, I was thinking that, and I was thinking of this program. And don't only just plan, and don't only talk about it. Like what I said, we don't usually talk about it, but try. You don't have to talk about it every day, but at least they can hear you once in a week to say, okay, you know, we'll have this talk, and this is that, and that, and then that. You know, you were saying that and that, now you're here. And children, if they are young, then continue to talk to them. If they are already earning money or they're young adults, some of you have your children living with you, but they're already earning money. And then you start talking to them in a different, you know, dimension to tell them, okay, now you're earning money. Don't get carried away because house is being paid for. Meals are provided on the table. Since you're earning, look out on what you can invest in now, you know, because you're not paying for the house or anything. So your pay is free and you can pay for your farm, start investing in a farm or get your car, start looking forward. So those are the kind of talk that we believe that we should start having at home, depending on the age group of your children and, you know, the full profile of what your family is about today. So bring back her story to, you know, to us. When you do that and you talk about it, then you need to document it. You need to, you know, see through the documentation of your plan. Don't just plan and a hearsay or verbally talk about it, but you need to document it. Something that is, you know, official and also legalized, and you have the lawyer to sign on it. Maybe you listen to it and said, okay, you know, why do I need to do that? They are my children and this is my wife. Everything will be okay. You know, I believe we shouldn't assume that everything will be okay. When this woman was living with her husband, they had, you know, a normal family because they came in agreement. And then she said, I love his children just like mine. And then, you know, and my husband loved my children from my first husband just like his. And we even heard one of her daughters sharing the same because she spoke in the youth standout. And she said, you know, I had a stepfather and he took me in just like his own daughter. And hearing that, it looks good, yeah, sound good because you're together. But when something happened, how sure are you that your family is still okay? So that is why we want to bring you back to what we're talking about here. Like, we don't want to talk about it, but you need to. Don't assume the fact that you're going to be here forever. I mean, at that point, when I was raising my children up, they were in primary school. But I was talking to them about the house. And the house wasn't even paid off at that time. And I was telling them, okay, when something happened, because there's only one boy, you will own the house, that and that and that. You will take the car, and if you have to share this. So I was talking to my children. They were only in primary school. Now they're married. They have their own property, and they have their own family. But those talks we were having when they were in primary school. And even by doing that, I documented and write it out, you know, stem from the lawyer. And as we go by and we grow up, now we are grandparents. We have reached this age. I was talking to them maybe in the last 2 decades. And moving forward, we're still having that kind of same talk, you know, and even now to our grandchildren, we are talking to them and telling them, look, that farm is going to be there. We're going to work on that farm. Remember, you have to work hard, do this and that, but always remember there. And then Joshua is the eldest and said, Joshua, you have to remember, you have your sibling, you have your 2 brothers, you have your 2 stepsisters. So you always need to know that whatever that you do and whatever that we are leaving behind, you have to remember them. I mean, and then you look at it, okay, that sounds crazy because he's only a 16-year-old. Why give them, that responsibility now? The more you talk about ownership, it will change the way that they look at their life. It will change, their accountability. It will change their seriousness towards their study. It will change their whole outlook of life because you begin to talk about the things in the future that now they feel so comfortable, everything is provided and looks good. So for them to know it's not going to be like that all the time. The time will come, something will change. There will be a shift, in the paradigm of your life. There's going to be a shift. And when that shift happens, are you ready? Or are you preparing your family for that shift if something happened to you? And then I have another friend who was sharing with me through Viber. And she mentioned, I have 3 daughters. None of them is married yet. And my husband, just passed on. And when I walk into our property, and then sometimes she said, sometimes I'm so angry because of what happened, a decision that he made, and something happened. And I'm so angry with the fact that now I have to carry that burden on my own and take on this responsibility that's supposed to be shared from the beginning, but now it's all on me. So back to our family. How much do you love your family, and how much do you love your children? And the content or the percentage or the volume of your love will define what you will do now. Because if you really love them, then you will make sure that they are in good hands. You will make sure that you plan well. So this is a time, we're talking about planning. It can be planning for the future, but document it. It can be planning for the midterm, short term, but document it. It can be planning, now for daily things, then you actually write it down. Write it down. These are the meals for the week. Like what I said, we've been repeating this for the last 3 Saturdays. We just want to round up and, give an overview of everything that we have covered. So moving forward, at least you've heard it somewhere, that you need to do certain things now. Like if you look at the children, maybe they've come of age, or maybe they've reached their 16 or 16 and a half, going on to 17. Some of them are already, working. Don't just take on the fact that they, you treat them just to be children because they're living with you. Nakagarando da kabatili, rada kabatunga, na moade luto na budesa. Because they know they're living in their parents' house, everything is provided. Even though they're earning money and their age continue to go up. But if you look at their life, they're just like any other 16 or 17-year-old, any teenager, with no responsibility because you have created that for them. You need to push them off the edge and tell them, okay, life won't be like this all the time. One day you will have your family, which means responsibility. So now if you're a girl, if you're a daughter, and then you tell her, you need to know how to cook. You need to know how to do these things, how to sweep the house, how to do all these things. You need to know. Even though you can do it yourself, but you need to brief them, tell them, because they won't be with you all the time. And go on responsibility. Teach them their responsibility, because when they go on to their home or go on to their new families, and that's where we are going to. We are actually trying to round off on the family planning, or the planning, for your family, before we embark onto the contributing factors to, domestic abuse, the differences, because sometimes, without us knowing, it can be the very thing that we brought with us from our own individual home, and we take it to our marriage life, we take it to our family, that we don't want to let go, and we assume that it's normal for everybody, and that is one of the contributing factors too in having that problem within, your marriage. So back to the planning that we would like to run up before I pass on to Ngaselebu. Whatever that you have done over the 3 weeks, whatever that you have written over the 3 weeks of coverage, we would like to encourage you. You can outside Fiji, all over the world, whichever corner that you're looking in from and joining us this morning. We would like to welcome you. Maybe you say, okay, I'm new in this place, I've just got into this country. Or maybe you say, okay, I'm just here for 3 years. Regardless how many years you're there, you can be there for a few weeks, or you can be there for so many years in whatever country that you may be. And if you say to yourself, okay, this is the country that I'm going to call my own. I'm going to be here. Even though I'm okay, I am a Fijian, but I'm going to be here. I've got papers to live here. So your plan have to start now. Or maybe you look around, okay, there's a lot of Fijians here, a lot of Itoke here. And then you want to be just like one of them. No, you can be different. You can start owning. What do you do? How can you do it? Step out into the unknown and take ownership. you may say, okay, I don't have the finances to do it now. Yeah, you may not, whatever that you're planning, it's planning according to your future. You're not planning according to the money that you have now. You can that you desire. And then once you plan, whatever that you do, it will push your body, push your mind, and push your finances towards the plan because you've already written that. So, you're waiting on your PR or you're waiting on your citizenship, and that costs a lot of money. And if you have a lot of family, well, all the more because every individual person pay for a visa fee or visa application fee, and that's finances in itself. Don't just give up for the fact and say, okay, I'll fend it out for a little while because I don't have that kind of money now. No, that money won't come if you continue to wait. You write it down and you say to yourself, this must happen and it should happen. And that's all part of the planning. So work towards your PR, work towards your citizenship, and start asking around what other help available, what other the things that the government do to help citizens to be able to achieve. Like now in Fiji, the government has actually, put out that they're going to be helping the first home buyers. So if you're buying your house or property for the very first time, there is a help provided from the government during this pandemic time. So what are those kind of help that is available in the country that you're in? And not only that, we have Australia, New Zealand, and America, I believe. I'm not really sure about America, but I'm sure about Australia and New Zealand. You have your money given out if you don't have any work or anything. There is an assistance given by the government to you to help you to live. And that money is coming in. In Europe, I heard the last time that we were there, I believe the same applied to New Zealand as well. They have children allowances given by the government. So the number of children, they get allowance from the government. And that allowance, they are given to you or given to your family to help you raise your children in that country because you are binded by the law of that country. And that allowance is given, it doesn't happen in Fiji. Fiji doesn't have any allowance for the children. I mean, that's your children, you look after them. And for certain countries, they give allowance to the children. And when that happens, well, open their bank account. And you are looking after them well with the budget that you have. So whatever money that they're getting is an allowance, year in, year out, or however you get it, monthly or yearly, or whatever the phase is. When it comes, you try and put it into their account because it's helping with their welfare and also contributing to their future. So those are the money that you never planned, you never anticipate, but it just come on you because of your family, your children. And can you remember when we were in New Zealand? We actually met up with this family. They have a lot of children. They have a lot of children. And as we were talking, the lady, and then I said, you're blessed with a lot of children. And then one thing that she mentioned really caught my attention. And then she said, I don't really struggle raising all this number of children up because the government give assistance and they give allowance. So regardless how many children I have, I get allowance from the government to be able to look after them. And to me, and I look at it, man, that's a real blessing. And if it's happening to you in the country that you're in, don't just take it in and, just use it for the sake of using it. No, you are already budgeting on how you're going to be looking after your family. So meals are covered, welfare are covered. Anything that is for the children and with that allowance coming in, open their bank account, put that money in and use it for them now. And then you can always save the leftover or whatever is there towards their future. And then they will grow up into it and take that account that you have created for them now. While us here in Fiji, okay, the account, every bank account is a minimum of $10. So the spending, if you're working, right spending as part of your expenses. So ne labo iko vulekina na kakan mendoti ko na allocation ni labo iko wistomikina me labo chiko na nomu saving. So na nomu saving o iko bakai ko kesa tiko talor to no luvemo kengerto levan no luvemo $5. So every fortnightly, if you're being paid fortnightly or weekly, then you put in $5 each and every account. Maybe you said, okay, that's so small. Well, that $5 adds up. Like in a month, that's $20. And in a year, that's $200+. It's a lot of money when you come to think of it. But when you're looking at a little money now, it adds up. It takes you. And then goes back to the fact what Gustavo was saying. If you're managing your money now, like if you're managing the $50, you're managing the $10, and you manage it well because it has to be sufficient, for everything. Back to the girl that I was sharing from the stand-up. She was earning only 3 days' work for $50. And that $50 paying for her degree courses, and also financing her family. The family that has two different sets of siblings, they give whatever that they can give, but with the $50, she's also trying to give and help out with the family in everyday living. And with that $50, to work with that $50 and back to you, if you're earning more than the $50, and if she's, earning and managing that, and yesterday, or the other day, as we said, and I was asking, how do you find your son? I said, I'm actually doing 3 units now. I'm pushing myself for next year to take on 4 units. And said, okay, academically, you can achieve that. And said, I can easily achieve that. My stumbling point is the finances to pay for the units. And, and as we were talking, that desire, because she desired, not only she was just getting, $50, if you're getting $50, the tendency to give up and say, okay, that money is so small, so little. You'll just give up. You won't even go out of your way to enroll into a degree course or, continue with your studies. But if that happens, then goes back to you. If you're earning and you're earning that much money, check yourself. How more or how much more can you put in as part of your planning? So I'll give this time to Gaselevu as we are rounding up on the planning today. So plan your life individually, plan your life as a couple, plan your life with your children. And if you're living in an extended family, please also plan. If you have your parents with you, also plan their lives, because one day they will pass on. And also have them as part of your plan. I grew up with my mom. I opened her account. Every time that I earn, I will put her saving in. And you have your parents with you. Some of you only have your mom. Some of you only have your dad. This is still part of your planning. Because one day they will pass on. Then what do you have planned for their life? What do you have planned, when that day happen? Are you ready? Or are you, you have something that is sufficient enough to look after the occasion and also to have a good Thanksgiving service for your parents? Because depending on your family setup, that depends on your planning. And the priority is the family. So I'll give this time to Gaselevu to round up on the planning today.
Nobody ever thought of the pandemic. And those that plan their life well, they will survive. Because as we said, you can come from a family that is well off. You come from the family that you are enjoying right now. Or your family that you came from used to enjoy a lot. Your parents or grandparents hold position. Or maybe in the society. Or maybe in the workplace. They did well. But at the moment, you are struggling right now. Because there were no plan at that time. So nobody ever planned of the pandemic. Nobody. Nobody ever thought that the restriction that we are facing at the moment will happen. But things happen. We never know what is there for the future for us. And most of the time, okay, for us Christians, sometimes we rely, okay, God will be with us. God will be with us. That is correct. That is right. But God will be always with us and manifest when we plan well, when we do our planning.
Right,
yeah. When we are telling God that we are serious of our future, we are looking forward to future. This is what we'll achieve in future. Whether it's in the doing for the church, or doing for the Banua, or doing for our family. Planning is part of our life.
Yeah.
Planning is supposed to be our responsibility as individual. We plan well. We're supposed to do it well. And when our children grow up with us, they will follow the same planning that we have. Because they've been hearing what we are doing. And they're seeing what we are doing. So when they grow up into adults, they will do exactly what their parents are doing. And when we pass the responsibility, the planning to them, they will continue with that planning life. They will continue with taking on the responsibility. Because planning is all about responsibility. That you are taking the responsibility tomorrow, today. You are committing yourself for tomorrow, beginning today. So that is all about planning. You don't want to go into tomorrow without any planning or any responsibility on your hand. Because when you plan, you know the responsibility that you have to go through. So when you plan, you are taking on the responsibility of tomorrow. That means you are accountable to what will happen. You are accountable to the children